Hello and welcome to another HUBtalk. I'm Kamil and today we'll be diving into biotechnology, what it's about, what are the applications in day-to-day life, its relation with climate change, and its future as a whole.
Here we go. Yeah.
To help me give more insight into the field of biotechnology, I have with me today Mr. Cris Silva.
Here we go.
To give a quick intro about him, he is the founder of Benzyme Ventures, the current guardian of lab at Dream Space Academy, and we should not fail to mention that Cris has been awarded as one of the top 100 leaders of tomorrow in biotechnology, run by Global Biotech Revolution. So without any other delay, welcome to HUBtalk, Cris. Thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So Cris, can you tell us as a whole what biotechnology really is and how is it used by everyday people?
Sure. So biotechnology in the really simplest form, it's technology-based biology. So what I meant is we use biomolecular processes to develop technologies and products that we can use for betterment of humanity. That is basically biotechnology, and biotechnology has several branches like medical biotechnology, agricultural biotechnology, environmental biotechnology, and also industrial biotechnology. So on these branches, there are huge amount of applications, but in day-to-day life, we usually encounter biotechnology when it comes to medical biotechnology. For example, in current case, the COVID vaccine, it's made using biotechnology, right? So that's a very simple example of application. But apart from that, if you are living in a country that is approved GMO, genetically modified crops, so you will be also consuming food that is genetically modified to withstand drought and also pests. That is another application that we encounter biotechnology in our day-to-day life.
Wonderful, Cris. So it's quite interesting to see the different applications that biotechnology can play as a role in our day-to-day lives. So Cris, could you tell us about the relationship between climate change and biotechnology?
Sure thing, Kamal. So when it comes to climate change, biotechnology addresses climate change in two sections. One is agricultural biotechnology, and other one is environmental biotechnology. So in agricultural biotechnology, it's mainly about improving agricultural processes so that we can reduce the impact of agriculture when it comes to climate change. For example, meat industry. So it's responsible for more than 60% of emissions that's coming from agriculture, like the greenhouse emissions. And agricultural biotechnology processes can help the farmers to reduce these emissions. So that is one thing that we can do. And also when it comes to environmental pollution, this plastic pollution, especially, there are products that are developed, for example, fungal based materials, for example, mycelium materials like biopolymers that we can use as an alternative for styrofoam and other plastic based packaging materials, so that we can reduce the environmental impact of our industrial processes. So biotechnology has the capacity to modify organisms and biological processes so that we can create products and technologies that really are sustainable and healthy for the planet, so that we won't be destroying planet while we are living on it. So that is how biotechnology is helping to mitigate and adapt to the climate change.
It's very interesting to know, Cris, from your point of view and the latest updates, that how countries are now taking biotechnology quite seriously and implementing it into their daily applications. And it's also quite interesting how biotechnology and its role to play in terms of safeguarding our climate. So we have understood the significant role that biotechnology plays in the current context around the world. So can you tell us about what some of the key investments towards biotechnology has been up to date? And what do you think in terms of the investment point of view, what else does the biotech industry need to move forward into the future and achieve its goals?
So Kamil, like most of the biotech startups are like funded by venture capital firms, and from an in the at their early stage from an angel investor. So what a startup really needs is that their technology and the legal rights to use it. So it's really important to have patents for their technology, and then it's relatively easy for them to go for a venture capital firm or an investor. So most of the biotechnology companies are coming like companies or ideas are coming from academia. So most of the founders were actually PhD students or postdocs who previously worked in the technology in this research area for a while, and then they figure out like they can build something with the research they were doing, and then that is how the the process works. So most of the ideas are coming from academia, and then they take it to the industry with the support of venture capital firms. So to answer the question, like what are the key investments in key investment areas, is mainly one of the things after COVID, what we notice is like there are a lot of investors who didn't previously invest in biotechnology are now investing to develop vaccines and uh, drugs that are used to prevent diseases like, for example, COVID. And there are so many other technologies that are working on preventing infectious diseases, and also like diseases that are not uh, in biotechnology we call this rare diseases. For example, there are genetic diseases that are affected only 1% of the population, but there are no cures. So like what COVID really did was it really put a spotlight on biotechnology and its applications, and how we can cure the humanity from the diseases, and how it can save environment as well. And other thing is because there's a catastrophe happening in the world when it comes to climate, a lot of funds goes to startups that are working on climate change, and like using biotechnology to tackle climate change and or improve the industrial processes that are part of disrupting the environmental ecosystem. So those are like two main areas that investments goes into, and also there are like I can mention few uh, companies that have that like funding these kind of startups. One is Illumina. They have their own accelerator through that they support genomic research and like precision medicine. For example, precision medicine is something that uh, develop technologies to uh, make drugs that are really specific to the individual. So that is so Illumina is working on that, and also Indie Bio. It's a uh, in venture capital firm in US. So they have a wide, huge portfolio. They are mainly working on climate change, agriculture, and then also medicine. So there are like few other firms as well, but those are like one of the main venture capital firms.
Right. Thank you so much, Chris. So, in terms of when you take technology into account, we all know that technology is contributing drastically to different industries at different levels. So, can you tell us how technology has aided biotech, like big data, quantum computing, and how do they progress biotech?
Yeah, so once when we finished the human genome project in 2003, we thought that we will cure every disease because we can find out the secrets. What it really did was it set the stage for data science and computing to come into biology and biotechnology. So after we sequenced our first genome, it spread to other animals, other bacteria, and it gave birth to this field genomics, right? So genomics mainly about data, biological data, and that is where the data science is really applying. So so there are startups that working on finding biomarkers for diseases like cancer and like I can name a few like cancer and then Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. So these diseases doesn't have a cure to the date, right? So when we apply data science for the genomic data of the patient, there's a possibility that we can find biological pathways or a way to interfere with these biological pathways and find a cure. So that is where like data science and computing is mainly applying to biotechnology. And also there are other applications in academia as well, like when we are presenting our data, that we need to visualize data, and then now we have like data like hundred thousands of terabytes of biological data that needs to be analyzed. So there are, for example, there are public databases like NCBI that has petabytes of data which anyone can access and analyze. So people who has the capacity to analyze this data, like especially they are proficient in data science, they can analyze this data and come up with different solutions for the different problems. So that is one way the data science is applying to biology. And also blockchain is because now we can share our our genome. Like for example, you have a genome, I have a genome, and if someone has access to our genome, they can really tell like what kind of diseases we might get in future. So that is so now it comes to a privacy issue. So though like we can have like sequence our genome, who has access to it? So blockchain can be a secure place for people to share their data and make sure that it's secure.
Great to hear that, Chris. It's wonderful how biotechnology has relationships with many different industries and sectors globally. It was very interesting and enlightening to learn about biotech today and its applications and its progression in the present day. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you very much, Chris, for joining us today and sharing your insight. And I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you for your efforts in the field of biotechnology, taking into account how important biotech is in our current day-to-day lives and to make the world a better place for humans to live in. And also would like to wish you all the best with your future endeavors in taking biotechnology to greater heights and showing the world how important it is to preserve this type of education around the world. Thank you very much once again, Chris.
Thank you very much, Kamil, for inviting me.